If you were like me and you wanted to get any other 5-star in this game that wasn't Gepard, this video is definitely for you. This character is actually a lot better than anyone would have imagined. I don't think way too many people are sleeping on him, but at this point now, guys, we're almost 5 days in. You probably have a lot of pulls at this point. Maybe you pulled Gepard, and I'm here to teach you that this character is not that bad. Because after playing him for a while, I really do think this character is kind of cracked. Now, Gepard is one of those characters that is just a tank. He's kind of similar to Zhongli in a way from Genshin Impact, where he makes your entire team bulkier, gives your entire team an AoE shield, and he's really solid on just helping you clear content that might be too difficult. Not as BS as Zhongli, but definitely worth building if you're struggling in the game at this point, which I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was definitely struggling and he helped me out a lot. His shield is to not be underestimated though. What you can do essentially while you're in the overworld, before you actually get into a battle, you can actually use his technique. Before you go into the next match, it actually gives you a shield off the get-go. While it may not be as tanky as his ultimate AoE shield, it's still solid. You get a shield off the get-go. I definitely recommend doing this, as you can just straight up start off the match with a shield immediately rather than trying to farm up for his ultimate. His basic attack is nothing too crazy. It's just a single target ice damage move that scales off his attack. You mainly want to build defense and stack defense on this character, so you can kind of just use his farm skill points. And his talent is interesting, I'll say. Rather than being knocked down, when he's in a knockdown state, he actually just gets right back up. Yeah, the guy doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to give up. So he just gets right back up, and he actually gets an increase of HP immediately, restoring 30% of it. It can only happen once per battle, and sometimes when I've used it, it's honestly not that bad. So in my personal experience, I don't think this is awful. I know many people, depending on who you ask, might have a different opinion on this, but at least for mine, I don't think it's too awful. But you probably, when you build this guy very efficiently, this may not even happen that often. If you have a healer and this guy is constantly building armor and shield for himself and the entire team, I feel like it would be a little bit of a surprise to just care to take it down. So it's an ability, but I enjoy it. I don't think it's that bad. I enjoy it. I liked it. His ultimate is the big kicker though, and the reason why this character I think is really solid. So March 7th is another character that I already made a guide on that is a single target shield. Gepard has an AoE shield. So he applies a shield to all allies, absorbing damage equal to 33% of Gepard's defense, plus 37 for 3 turns. So if you build defense on this character, you will make yourself and the entire enemy team very tanky. Stacking an entire shield on yourself and all your allies is absolutely massive. Shields are nuts in this game, so I definitely think it's worth building this character and worth farming his ultimate to stack that off. There are a few light cones in this game that are actually solid for him. I would typically recommend light cones that do buff defense, but the one that I've gotten the best use from though is the March 7th light cone, day 1 of my new life. The passive is honestly really solid for him, as it does increase the wearer's defense by 16%. And after entering the battle, it increases his damage resistance of all allies by 8%. That's not that bad because not only does it make your defense off the get-go insanely really good, so he's able to live a lot longer, to be able to get out that AoE shield for all of your allies, but at the same time as well, too, damage resistance on all allies is really solid. And this is only at level 40 with the Refinement 1. Super Imposition is essentially the exact same as Refinement from Genshin, so that's a good way to look at it. Now, I don't have a lot of Gepard's traces actually unlocked, as I'm still pretty early into the game, but his traces are honestly not that bad as well, too. I enjoyed his trace a lot when I can eventually get it, which essentially Gepard's energy will be restored to 100%, which is really good. More energy, more ult. You love to see it. They're overall pretty simple traces, as they just sort of just buff his defense, buff his shield. There's one here as well too that has a higher chance of him to actually be targeted by the enemies, which is solid as well too. This kind of opens up the door for your hyper carries to be able to dish out more damage as you're focused on the bulky tank. This middle one I do think is probably one of the better ones, as it just over time increases the damage absorption of the shield. So right now it's at 33% at level 3. When I go to level 4, it hits 35. So it just keeps getting better, and it's definitely worth investing into this one because his character, basically his entire existence, is this shield. You don't really play him for damage. You don't really play him for anything else, really. He's just solid for that. This one you could also use as well, too, if you're interested in Gepard, making him do more damage, as this one converts his attack by 35% of his current defense. And it actually refreshes at the start of each turn. So if you actually like Gepard that much, or you want to see this character do more damage, you can invest in this trace. Though I do like the top ones up here though, where its defense increased by 7.5%. Gepard just wants to stack as much defense as possible in order to make that shield for the allies a lot tankier. You'll live more, you could do more damage. That's a TLDR for it. So I definitely recommend building this character as much defense as possible. To go back into effect hit rate though, essentially that increases the likelihood of an effect to occur. I know, right? It's actually a lot more simple than I thought. Right now it has a 65% chance, which is the base chance. But what you can do is increase the likelihood of the chance to actually freeze. So the TLDR for this one as well too, is you can increase the chances of successfully debuffing enemies by increasing the caster's effect hit rate. So the more effect hit he has on this guy, the higher chance he does have to freeze. Though, again, I still recommend that you build this character defense, as the shield is going to be the biggest carry for this character and probably a massive reason on why you can be able to clear content that is probably double your levels. I've actually beaten characters at this point that are level 50, 60, just with Gepard's shield. Relics are something that are not going to be too important at this point into the game, but they're still worth kind of having on your characters just for an overall stat buff. Mine are a little all over the place right now, so I don't recommend doing what I'm doing. But the best relic set form is easily Knight Solum. It essentially increases defense with a 2-piece effect, and the 4-piece effect increases the maximum damage that can be absorbed by the shield created by the wearer by 20%. So this is making his overall defense higher and is going to make his shield a lot stronger. You build that, everyone's gonna have a good time. Definitely his best relic set so far, and the one that I would recommend farming. All in all, guys, Gepard is actually a character that I kind of slept on for sure. I was a little salty that I pulled him over Himiko when I first got the game, but after I built him, he's a really solid tank. His ult is absolutely phenomenal. He has great energy economy. He's also solid at skill point generating. He is easily the best tank in the game at the moment. And he's really solid in almost any team comp. Since he's a tank, he makes everyone on your team tankier. So if you feel like you have a frail team, it's definitely worth looking into. Some solid characters he actually works with is Arlon, if you are a big Arlon fan, as Arlon wants to stay at low HP, so you have a shield, you'll likely be able to stay more at that low HP stat. Since you have such a massive shield, you'll be a lot tankier to dish up the damage that Arlon does at low HP. But like I said again, Gepard is solid in almost any team comp, so he's definitely worth investing if you were like me and you pulled this character. If this video helped you out, guys, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe as well too. Let me know your journey in Honkai Star Rail in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.